Hey guys, in this video, let's talk about the rush mode in Slime Rancher. Now, in this video I will explain not only the rules, but I will also give you my strategies and my tips just to help you out with getting your next new high score. I divided the video into 4 sections because otherwise it just gets one big mess. And, if you like this content, please consider subscribe and let's go because we have a lot to cover. Here we go! When you first start a game, you'll notice how you have a timer placed on your backpack. Here you will see the remaining number of in-game hours. Now you always start off with 51 in-game hours, and these can be extended by completing missions you get from the terminal. If you complete a mission, you gain 12 in-game hours and 6 gilded gingers. Now I will explain why you get the gingers in a moment. But if you complete a mission, you get your next one no sooner than at the noon next day. So the quest givers will be familiar as they will be the NPCs we know as Tora West, Victor Humphreys, Ogden Ortiz and Machi Miles. They always come in this order. Just like in the adventure mode, you can always guess what kind of items they'll want. Now Tora West is the odd one which has no obvious preference. She may ask a specific kind of food or slime. The Victor Humphreys, on the other hand, he will always want certain kinds of slimes. The Ogden Ortiz will always want specific kinds of food, and the Machi Miles will want different plorts. Now there is one major difference to them in the rush mode as compared to the adventure mode. In the adventure mode they actually keep track of what areas you have unlocked, so they won't ask items behind a slime gate. So in rush mode they don't really care what you haven't unlocked. Now it is very important to get as many of these missions done as possible, especially if you want a new high score. So it may be a valid option to check immediately the first mission from Tora, and if it demands a type of food you won't immediately have access to, just press escape and start a new game. Now you don't have to do this, I honestly don't, because I find overcoming these challenges is part of the fun, but if you're trying to set a new personal record, it may be something you probably should do. Now try to evaluate at the last mission from Machi Miles, the 4th one, if you actually can do it. Now often at the last mission you have very few minutes left on the clock. If you don't have the required items available and are unsure if you will make it, just skip it and try to turn in as many plorts as you can before the clock strikes 0. Now a quick bonus tip is if at some point during the rush mode you're wondering about what to do next, just pause the game and think it through. When you know, just unpause the game and let the rushing begin once again. When you walk towards the plot market at your ranch, you'll notice straight away a few things. The prices are fixed, unlike in the adventure mode. They won't change throughout the game for any reason. The least valuable plorts are the pink ones, and the most valuable ones are the plorts from the Tangled Dervish and Mosaic Slimes, except for the gold plorts of course. Now in addition, if you turn in plorts, you may notice a frame is being filled around the plorts on the screen. If it's filled, it gets a star next to it, which what that means is that for each 25 plorts you turn in per kind of plort, you will get a point multiplier when the game is done. Now it's very important to get as many of these filled up as you can. There are 16 plort types, so you have the chance to get 16 different multipliers. So for that reason it's also very important to get as many different kinds of slimes in your ranch. Now if you don't want to keep, for example, the pink slimes at your ranch, just make sure to get the 25 plorts in the wild. Now you may want to get the fire and puddle slimes sooner than later because these take the longest while to create the plorts. Don't forget, in the beach area you have a small pond where you can place the puddle slimes, so you don't have to sacrifice a plot for a pond. Earlier I mentioned that you always get 6 gilded gingers from each completed mission. Now you will need these for the many golden gordos that have been added to the map. Now in the description I will leave a link to the Fan Wikia for Slime Rancher, where they have a section with all the rules for rush mode, widely explained, and with a map for all the golden gordo locations. So be sure to check that out as it was a major help for making this video. Not all golden gordo locations are worth going to in my opinion. I suggest you pop the golden gordo right outside your ranch immediately after completing your first mission, so you have a starting capital for your gardens and corals. You will only need to use 3 gilded gingers to pop a gordo, in addition to veggies or fruit to shoot at the golden slimes when they pop. In the later game, when you have a few minutes of breeding time and at least 9 gilded gingers, either head to the Ash Island or the Ring Island. Now at each of these islands there are 3 golden Gordos close together. Another important way to make starting capital are the treasure pots. They've also been changed, then they don't give any items but only cold hard cash. Now after all, the green treasure pots drop 100 new bucks, the blue treasure pots drop 200 and the purple treasure pots drop 350. So if you encounter one, be sure to open it. It may give you those few new bucks you need to set up your first gardens or corals, and when you first exit your ranch you can easily get to these 3 treasure pots, so be sure to get these first. Be sure to not forget the one hiding behind your slime science lab. Okay, the favors are stacked against you, but developers have also given you a few tools to help you out. Now, starting with your own equipment, it has been fully upgraded. Every upgrade has been unlocked. They have also unlocked every expansion of the ranch, now except for the Machi Miles Manor and the Ogden Ortiz Retreat. You won't either have access to the upgrades that would be provided by Machi Miles or Ogden Ortiz, like the deluxe upgrade for the gardens, for example. You have access to a few gadgets, being 10 drones, 3 sets of teleporters, 3 sets of warp depots, 3 hideout turrets and 2 med stations, and of course a market link. But you can't make any more as the refinery has been deactivated. But don't forget, these gadgets will be a major help. Starting with the teleporters. Now teleporters are very important during rush mode because you will constantly need access to different parts of the map for the missions. So immediately when you start your run, drop one of each teleporter set immediately down at your ranch. Then after you unlock different parts of the map while exploring, drop the other ones down. I personally like to put one in the moss blanket immediately after you drop down the tree log, and another one in the central part of the glass desert when you encounter the Tangle Gordo. You always have a teleport to the Indigo Quarry to the grotto after you popped the rock Gordo, of course. Now, warp depots. If you find yourself already holding 4 different items and don't want to leave a 5th kind item behind, drop down a warp depot there and then and just throw the item in there. When back at your ranch, drop the other warp depot down and tada! There is your item. I personally keep the gilded gingers I get from the missions inside a warp depot. That way I don't need to keep them in my backpack or waste a lot for a silo. So that way I always have access to them when I find myself near a golden Gordo by just placing the other warp depot down. Let's talk about the drones. Now the drones are actually very helpful. They can sell your plorts at the market and fill your auto feeders with the food from your gardens. But the major problem I have with them is the very simple reason that they tend to just focus on filling one specific auto feeder instead of dividing the food from your gardens among all the other corals. So be sure to check their work often when you pass them by, as you don't want to have some dervish slimes going hungry and starting tornadoes all over your ranch. In those last few moments, don't forget to put the 2 drones near the market link and the plot market to selling your plorts so they can help you out with emptying the auto collectors. I personally suggest to not place the market link down at your ranch, especially at the early game. Keep it with you, place it only on the ground when exploring and when you find yourself holding plorts. Afterwards, just don't forget to pick it up again. At the end game, if you're selling as many plorts before the time hits 0, you can put it down and just let the drones of that section sell your plorts using the market link. Let's talk about food. Now, since you will be wanting as many plorts as possible, you will also need to feed these slimes a lot of food. I propose you make large goes and work exclusively with vegetables and fruit, since the coops won't produce chickens fast enough. Also, looking at the fixed price for plorts, it may be a very good idea to combine them with one of the glass desert slimes, so either the dervish or the mosaic slime. A quick tip, try to keep your Tangle Largo in the overgrowth where it will be able to grab one of the many chickens with ease when hungry. Another quick tip, if you aren't using drones to feed your slimes and you want to quickly empty a garden of its ripe fruit or vegetables, select the option to remove the crop. This will let the ripe produce fall on the ground for an easy collection. Afterwards, you can just throw one of the fruit or veggies into the garden dispenser again, so it'll start growing the food once again. It's a little trick, but it may save you a bit of time. In this section I'm just gonna go over my tips for unlocking as much of the map as quickly as possible. You won't need to collect the different kinds of plorts to open the giant gate to the ancient ruins, nor will you need to collect quantum plorts for the teleporter to the glass desert. They're already working, but what you will need is to get 2 slime keys to get to the glass desert and an additional one for the indigo quarry. I always get these keys from the pink Gordo on the little island in the dry reef and the phosphor Gordo a little further in this cave. Now a quick side note, in the rush mode you only need 30 of the food type they like. So for example you will need 30 food to pop the phosphor Gordo. Now his favorite food, the cuberry, will count for 2. I find the food I need always immediately in the overgrowth section of my ranch and along the way to the Gordos. So after popping the pink Gordo and the phosphor Gordo, you head towards the moss blanket. Now along the way you will find a tabby Gordo. Now in rush mode all Gordos that are sitting on teleporters can be popped with 1 meat, fruit or veggie, whichever kind they fancy. So be sure to throw a chicken at this tabby when you pass it. It'll give you easy access to your ranch to drop off slimes or fruit if you've gathered any along the way. To enter the moss blanket you don't really need a key since your backpack is fully upgraded. If you start hovering at the highest part of the walkway, you can just hover over the gate. Be sure to drop a teleporter soon after, so you won't need to repeat this once again. Keep picking up fruit as you're going, since we'll need 30 more fruits in the glass desert. Now head towards the teleporter to the glass desert that is located at the back part of the ancient ruins. 2 gates will be in your way, so you will need to use your keys for these ones. Once in the glass desert, hover towards the dervish Gordo at his usual place, pop him using the 30 fruit you collected while getting here, and you instantly will have your 3rd slime key for the gate to the indigo quarry, and of course the 10 dervish slimes to collect for your ranch. Keep going further till you reach the central part of the glass desert. Be sure to drop another teleporter down here, and use a chicken to pop the tangle Gordo for an easy 10 tangle slimes. Normally you should also find a prickle pear or a silver turnip in the crates that were dropped by the dervish or the tangle Gordo. Now at this point of the glass desert you are close to a fountain that can supply your ancient water. Now collect 3 rock plorts from the rock slimes, there were a few on your way here, and drop them in these 3 statues to get your ancient water. Now you can open up the 4 nearby oases, so you have complete access to the dervish, mosaic and tangle slimes. In this area you will also find the silver turnip and the prickle pear. After you can easily head towards the indigo quarry with your slime key from the dervish Gordo and open the gate. Just make sure to pop the rock Gordo in the cave so you always have a teleport to the indigo quarry from your grotto. Okay, so I think those were all the strategies I could come up with for Slime Rancher Rush Mode. I think my next video is going to be just a walkthrough of the first 10 to 15 minutes of the Rush Mode, so I can just show you there how I, earn my starting capital, how I unlock the map as much as possible. This is going to be pretty much what I just explained in my last section of this video, but I just want to show it as best as I can. And yeah, I think that's about it. So guys, if you liked this video, please consider subscribe, it would help me out a lot. And till next time guys, see ya!